I'm good. I always like bringing the guest straight away so that the audience, sees you. And I'm also trying to make the intros very, very, exact. So I was kind of like
Oh, no rush.
um,
No rush.
doing both. Definitely. Welcome.
It
How are
is
you?
good. It is so good to be here. I love you telling that story about how you saw our film years ago. I know we talked about it a few weeks back, and I appreciate all the kind things you're saying about our company and our work. Really, really nice things. I appreciate it.
You know what? I grew up with a lot of problems and I had a lot of, things to get over in my life. And I always had this idea because I started reading books about, therapy and psychology. And I always had this idea that if you want to get something out of your, field of energy or your subconscious mind, you just gotta need a lot of money and you're gonna go and pay therapists and in no case you cannot do it by yourself, and I found out that reading books doesn't really work that much. And then when I discovered tapping, and I remember doing that for the first time, I just think I watched a YouTube video or something, and I became emotional, and I felt how energy is clearing. I'm like, oh my God, it's so powerful. I don't even know what's happening. I don't have any idea what I'm doing. I'm just a starter here, and I feel that this is impactful. So definitely, definitely excited to bring this technology, if I can call it a technology,
Yeah.
to our audience.
Yeah, I love what you said there too, because with tapping, it really is about experiencing it. It is the type of thing where when you first hear about it, you're like, what, really? Like tapping on parts of the body, it doesn't make sense. But when you try it and you experience it, you really get to get a sense of what it can do for you and how it can really change the way you feel in your body and move that energy. And for a long time, it was really just about how people were using it and the transformation they were feeling. Now there is so much science and research behind the technique that it just makes it a no-brainer to have as one of those tools and techniques that you have in your arsenal.
Can you tell us a bit about origins, your story with tapping and how you guys, you created this awesome company?
Yeah. Yeah. So you want to hear a little bit about that? Yeah, I would love to
I
share
would
that.
love to. I
Yeah,
would
well,
love
I mean,
to.
for starters, I got into personal development. I was 20 years old. I was really lucky. I was think back about it, and anytime I hear stories of somebody who got into personal development at a young age, it's such a lucky thing to get into at a young age. And I originally got into it. Tony Robbins, went to a Tony Robbins seminar. Tony changed my life. It's fun and great to say that Tony's a friend now. You know, yeah, Tony's an amazing person. And so, we got into personal development through Tony and just kind of transformed our life. And I don't know how much after the whole Tony period it was, we went through all of his courses, that my brother was looking for, and I mentioned my brother. So our company is myself, my brother, and my sister, family owned company. I always say that, if you don't believe it works, the fact that we work with each other and don't kill each other is a
Oh
clear
yeah.
sign that we must be doing something right with the tapping, right? But my brother was looking for solutions for some health issues he was having, some allergies. And like a lot of people, he went online, was researching, and he came across tapping and realized in trying it the way you did that it was something where he just felt a shift right away and said, I want to do something with this. And he just started using it with everybody. I mean, he was kind of coaching people at that time after the Tony Robbins world and getting into personal growth. And he just started using tapping with everyone who would listen to him, right? He was that annoying personal development person who was talking a little bit too much about what he was into, but he was using the tapping and getting great results with everybody. And so he got the idea at that point to actually make a documentary film about it, which is how you were introduced to it, because at that time, we had invested in a film about food and health. And so he decided to make a documentary film about tapping. And so he spent about a year and a half making this film, and with really no idea on how to make it. You talk about attraction and how you attract things into your life. He had no idea on how to make a film. He just bought all the camera equipment, got his best friend from high school to get involved, got my sister to get involved. I didn't get involved initially because I was running another company. And so the three of them literally got all these cameras, opened up the boxes, grabbed the instructions and said, okay, we're making a movie now, right?
Well,
So had to learn how to use cameras, how to do all the lighting, how to do the editing equipment, and went through this journey of making a documentary film of interviewing experts and eventually putting together a 3-day weekend that they filmed that showed people going through the transformation of using tapping over just 3 days, and that really turned into the tapping solution film. And then that kind of went from there. Our business, we started something called the Tapping World Summit, which if you've ever seen summits out there, the whole summit model was actually invented by us. We are going to be doing, I think, our 13th annual Tapping World Summit next year. And yeah, that kind of spiraled into our summits, into our books, now into an app that we launched 2 years ago, and all really with a passion to help people with this technique. I mean, that has always been the driver for us of how do we take this technique, which is so simple that anybody can learn in a few minutes, and literally make it accessible to every man, woman, and child on the planet. That's our mission statement, how to make this technique accessible to every man, woman, and child on the planet. And so that's kind of how we got going. And 15 years later, we're here doing it in bigger ways to show people how to use this tapping technique. And no, not tap dancing. I know I saw somebody comment and tap dancing, not tap dancing. We're going to talk about tapping on the face, on energy meridians of the body. And yeah, we'll go into that in a few minutes.
15 years is such a long time, and this just shows how much passion you have for, what you're doing, because not a lot of companies have so long of a history, and I love the story because, a person that doesn't have any experiences in how your brother started, just purely driven by passion and how much velocity he got and how much attraction power he got through this. I just remember the launches you guys were having in 2010, 2011. I was working in Bob Proctor's company back then, and it was like a phenomenon. And I know Hay House and Hay was working with you, and then I saw you guys at a big conference in Vegas with Hay House. I'm like, these guys are so young and they're so driven and they're changing the world with just a simple concept. Nothing complicated about it. You don't need 10 books, 10 courses, something easy, something that you can understand straight away, and so profound.
Yeah,
can you tell us a bit about
I was
sorry.
just going to say, it is about passion. I mean, I think anytime you're going to work to create change, I think so often when people want to attract more money into their life or more success, they focus so much on the money and that end result and not on the impact. I mean, for me, living is giving. It's about how can you help other people and how can you go beyond yourself. I heard a great quote from Peter Diamandis: you want to make $1 billion, help 1 billion people. So, focus on how you can help more people. And that's always been our focus, on going, how can we help more people? And we have, a reputation of giving in ways that most people do not, through our different things. And we've got a foundation that we started several years back, where we actually do tapping in our community in Newtown, Connecticut. So where we had the Sandy Hook school shooting. So we work with first responders and parents who lost kids, and we work with people around the world with PTSD, because tapping is really effective with PTSD. But really, again, all these things are about how can we give more? How can we give more to people and create that value, knowing that it will come back to us with profit, with revenue, and all those things. It kind of spirals. As you make more money, you have more money to hire more people, to do more things, to impact more people. I think the more you just focus on giving and being mission driven, the bigger results you get with whatever you're doing.
And this is what I think really represents, the way business will be done in the 21st century. I think we're all coming to that idea, that you can pretty much succeed in anything nowadays, and all the personal development, catching up with things, like it's worthwhile finding that passion. It's worthwhile focusing on contribution and on giving, and also the feedback you get and the fulfillment you get is you cannot quantify or equate that in any financial terms. So it's just amazing. Can you tell us a bit about how tapping works?
Sure. Yeah. So first off, let me maybe, and I thought about this conversation today before we came on today, and thinking about the law of attraction and what so many of your people are here for, and trying to learn about how do I attract more into my life, and thinking, well, what is tapping, and why would I do this tapping thing? So, we can jump into some of that. So, I mean, first off, as we said in the beginning, just tapping is literally tapping on different parts of your body while saying certain statements, and that can seem weird, but the question is, so why are we doing that, right? And the reason we are doing that is because research shows that when we tap on these endpoints of meridians of our body, it actually sends a calming signal to the amygdala of the brain. And the amygdala of the brain is the fight or flight center of the brain. So, anytime you're stressed or anxious or overwhelmed or feeling any of these negative emotions, that amygdala is being triggered in your brain. It's an ancient part of our brain. The example I always like to think about is if you were out in the wild thousands of years ago and you saw the tall grass moving, and your brain immediately triggered and thought, oh, that's a lion over there, and blood flows away from your brain and into your arms and limbs so you can run away quickly. It's that subconscious survival part of our brain that keeps us alive. And really, it's a really, really important part of the brain. The challenge is that in our modern society right now, it doesn't get triggered by, oh, I'm afraid of a lion, or I'm afraid of, something crazy like that. It gets triggered by every little thing all day long, by the email from your boss, by worrying about paying your bills, by worrying about how you look in your body, by worrying about, how you're comparing to other people on social media, which is such a huge stressor for people. It's about the news and what's going on in the world with COVID right now, with racial tensions in our world, in our country. All these different things mean that we're constantly in this state of stress and anxiety. And so that amygdala is being triggered. And you might think, well, what does that matter? It matters hugely, because when that amygdala is triggered, the prefrontal cortex of our brain, which is where we have our modern thought, which is where whenever you're in a creative flow state, and whenever you think about attracting more into your life. If you've read any books like by Joe Dispenza on quantum physics and quantum mechanics, it's that prefrontal cortex which is responsible for creating the things that you want into your life. And so the more you're living from that place of being triggered by your amygdala, the more your prefrontal cortex is being limited and unable to actually get you the results that you want. And most people are just not aware of how much they're living in that survival state versus living in a creative state where they're focused on what they want in their life and attracting more of it into their life, and just being able to find the answers and being resourceful and all that kind of stuff. I love the example of, if you've ever been in the shower and you have amazing ideas in the shower, and you're like, oh, the reason is that because you're relaxed, warm water, you kind of shut down from everything else, and you're in this space where your amygdala is no longer being triggered and your prefrontal cortex is running, and so you have all these amazing ideas. Now the thing is, you could do this all the time. You could have amazing ideas all the time if you're not in that fight or flight state on an ongoing basis. And so really the goal with tapping is to go, how can I calm my amygdala and get myself back into a state where my prefrontal cortex is where I'm running from as much as possible. That's the brain side of it in terms of why we do the tapping. The other side of it has to do with our health and our body. I mean, they say that I think 95% of all illnesses are lifestyle, environment, stress, and anxiety.
Yeah.
It's only about 5% that are really
Gene-related,
gene-related, DNA-related things. It's 95% that are the other things. And so when that amygdala is being triggered, there are certain parts of our body that slow down. Our digestive system slows down, our endocrine system, our reproductive system. And so people struggle with, they go, oh, I'm trying to eat all the right things and I'm exercising. Why can't I lose weight? Well, you can't lose weight because you're stressed out and your digestive system isn't working properly and your health isn't working properly. And so when we can calm our amygdala down with a technique like tapping, we not only bring our brain back online, so we're more creative and can have better brain power, but our body goes into a better state of health and healing. When that amygdala is triggered, we are in the stress response, not in the relaxation response. The relaxation response is where our body heals. It's a good thing we sleep at nighttime, because otherwise I think a lot of people would literally never be able to heal or relax or rest. They'd just be stressed out 24 hours a day. But thank God we sleep. But the question I think for us to all ask ourselves on a daily basis is, how can we be living in a state where we are more relaxed and more present, because it not only makes us smarter, literally makes us smarter and more resourceful with our brain, but it affects our health and our body and allows us to live the life that we want to live. And so for me, the goal on a daily basis is, how can you, rather than trying to force things in your life, rather than being in a state of fear or anxiety or stress and trying to force things, how can you get yourself into a relaxed state regardless of what's going on in the environment around you? I like to think about it like, imagine there's a hurricane. I live in Connecticut. We have thunderstorms rolling through right now. But I like to think about it like a hurricane. If you were that big oak tree in the middle of a hurricane, and no matter what was going on, you were just there and you were stable, right? That's the goal of what we want to do with our life, is we want to be able to live in a place where no matter what is going on, we can stay calm, because then we can become resourceful, we can use our brain's full potential, and we can be in a state of health and healing. And again, so the reason I mentioned all this is going back to the tapping, is that science and research shows that when we do the tapping, it sends this calming signal to the amygdala of the brain, letting it know that it's safe and that it can relax. And so it not only calms us when we're stressed out, but it also actually rewires the brain as well. So that rather than firing those neural pathways of stress and anxiety on a constant basis, where that unconscious part of us is running us, we can rewire our brain and become a different expression of who we are, become really a different person altogether, by being able to release those things that we can often so much struggle with, right? I know, whenever I think of law of attraction, people always ask, because we will focus on the negative with tapping. We'll focus on the stress or the anxiety or the problem, and they'll go, well, why am I going to focus on the negative? I don't want to attract that into my life. And I love sharing this quote from Louise Hay. When my brother Nick was interviewing her years ago, he said, Louise, you're the queen of affirmations. You're the queen of positive thinking. Why do we do the tapping? Why are we focusing on the negative? And she said, honey, if you want to clean a house, you've got to see the dirt. And that's what the tapping is about, right? It's about going, you can't just go through your life. You're not going to have a clean house if you ignore everything and just go, my house is clean, my house is clean, my house is clean. You've got to be able to see the dirt and clean it so you can focus on more of what you want. So when we do the tapping, we actually focus on some of the negative things that we're feeling on a subconscious level, so that we can express those things, release those things, move the energy of it, so we can go back to the positive. Because no matter what, if you are sitting there, and this is one of the ways that people struggle with the law of attraction on a regular basis, is they think, I'm just going to think positive. I'm going to think positive. Everything is good. Everything is good. But under the surface, their unconscious brain is scared, stressed, afraid, overwhelmed, all of these different things. And that is what runs the show in our life, not just the positive thinking. So we want to call.
Alex, I believe I lost you for a second. Can you guys still can you guys still see Alex? On my side, I'm not getting his line anymore. Just give me feedback. Oh, I think you're back. Come back, Alex. People are like, no, come back. That's okay, guys. There we go. That's fine. Trust me, Alex is he's a brilliant marketer. He's a tech guy, and he knows how to figure it out and come back with us. And I just wanna, I just wanna tell you something about what Alex just mentioned. I want to piggyback on that a bit about the subconscious patterns that we have that drive us. We have no idea, how they work, and most of them have been formed in childhood. So you can watch The Secret and start thinking positively, but if you are brought up in an environment which is very stress driven, you might have the tendency to carry that. And oh, there we go, Alex back. you might have a tendency to carry back as your modus operandi when it comes to taking action, going after your goals, and so on. You're back.
I'm back. I told you we've got big thunderstorms here in Connecticut, so I couldn't risk the regular internet in my house because it'll drop. I've had issues for a couple weeks, the last couple weeks, and so I'm just on the wireless. And I think with the storms, it's just not the best day for internet for me where I am. But I'm here. I'm back.
And your connection is great. I can see you also very well.
Okay, great.
I was just mentioning that what you said about, we having a certain subconscious way of doing things, which can be very stress driven, is not something we usually see. We can say, well, I'm a positive person, but then be very tough on us. Actually, I did a health coach certification course a year and a bit ago, just because I wanted to explore this area more. And I found about orthorexia, which is an eating disorder for people that eat super healthy,
Yeah.
super clean, never eat anything that would be out of the super clean, super healthy
Yeah.
pattern, and they still get sick
Yes.
because, and it's driven by that stress response. They never relax into it. And I have a very short, funny story. I was with one of my dearest mentors, and I was having lunch or dinner with him. I think it was dinner, and I asked him, like, "Do you have any fasting protocols or detox protocols?" And the guy, I wouldn't say he was eating. Oh, there he goes again. He'll be back. I'll keep sharing my story. And my mentor, he wasn't necessarily, I would say, a guy that always eats super healthy. He would have some Coke and some fried food or whatever, and that for me was like, oh my God, I could never eat that. Oh my God, it's gonna make me sick and so on. And then I got this advice to trust my body, and the advice was this: look, our body is the most amazing, complex, miraculous instrument of nature. If your body is relaxed and aligned, then it will do its job. If you eat super healthy, but you're in a stressful state of being, and if you stress yourself with everything that you do and eat, like Alex also said, your body will not be able to work correctly. That was such a big lesson for me. Okay, Alex is back, and we're just taking short breaks. Welcome
Yeah,
back,
I
Alex.
know. I connected to the regular internet. We'll see how it all works to see if it makes any better. But yeah, no, keep going. I've heard what you're saying about orthorexia and
Yeah, and all personal development revolves around like how awesome we are, how much potential we have, and like the mind and the body and so on. But do we really, like, how do we really see that, and do we really trust that is the question, Often we go for the technique, or we go for somewhere outside to give us the precise formula for whatever success. But how often do we sit down and say, you know what, I trust that I have everything I need in my subconscious,
yeah,
in the field of potentiality, and I trust my body. I trust that my body knows what it has to do to heal
yeah,
if I allow it, and so on. And I think this is one of the vast unexplored spaces of personal development where we are emerging into right now, because I think the new paradigm in personal development is for people to go deep, to explore the within, and to understand that the true master is not in a course or a lecture or whatever, is within.
yeah,
Go there, and this is where the magic is.
yeah, yeah. I mean, what you brought up really reminds me of somebody just asked, what's our app called? The app called the Tapping Solution, just so you know. I know somebody had to leave there. So we had an interview. I'm trying to remember the doctor that we interviewed for one of our Tapping World Summits, where she talked about how she was a doctor in a really well-off community, and she was seeing all these clients who like would come in and they were in great shape and they were doing all the juice cleansing and the salads and the supplements and all this kind of stuff, and they were coming in with all these health challenges. And the reason being is that no matter what, if you're focusing on exercise and focusing on what you eat, that is not enough. And I'll tell you why. So I learned this from Dr. Mark Hyman. He said this to us in one of our interviews, which really stuck out to me as to why we do the tapping. So there's 3 things that are critical for your health. Number 1, it's what you eat, what you put in your body, eating good, healthy foods. Great, we get that. So many people focus on that. It's moving your body, it's exercising. Great, most people get that. The third thing is resetting your nervous system. And this is the part that most people don't talk about. When you look at our health, or if it's weight loss or whatever it might be, people don't talk about resetting the nervous system. And the thing is that when we are in these chronic states of stress, we cannot be in a healthy state because our digestive system doesn't work right, our reproductive system, like all these different bodily systems for healing do not work properly when we're in that stress response. An example, the way we're meant to function. I live in Connecticut. Anybody who's ever seen a deer or an animal like that that's been startled, you startle a deer, they stop, they look at you, they freeze, they go into that stress response, and then all of a sudden as the danger goes away, they go back to normal. That's the way our bodies are designed to be. They're designed to have that stress response and then go back to the normal response, to the relaxation response. But when we don't reset our nervous system, we literally don't allow our body to heal. We don't allow our own body's self-repair mechanisms to work when we stay in that stress response. And so, a few people have said, how do we do the tapping? How do you do the tapping? We'll get to that in just a moment. But it is critical to understand why you're doing this too, because if you don't understand that you need to be able to reset the nervous system, that you need to bring your body into a state where it's relaxed, that you are limiting your health in your brain in really, really major ways. And again, I'm a big proponent of all sorts of techniques, right? I love tapping, but meditation is great. Exercise is great. Like whatever things you're doing to get yourself to de-stress and to create that balance are super critical, because without it, if you stay in that stress response, then you're just going to stay stuck and unable to think and create what you want and in a state of lack of health and, from where you want to be. So.
Is there an ideal time of the day where, one of these emotional freedom techniques should be applied? And I'm just asking for a person that's not so much aware of, how everything works.
Yeah. Well, so there's 2 ways that I recommend using the tapping. So number 1 is when something's come up, right? You can't, if you've ever been in a really strong state or emotion like anger, or really high stress, if you're 0 to 10 and you're at like an 8 or 9 or 10, you can't really think your way out of those emotions, right? You can't just be like, I'm gonna be calm. Or if you're really angry and somebody says, calm down, you're like, I don't want to calm down, I'm angry, right? It's hard to control ourselves in those moments. And those moments are really powerful times to do the tapping, because by doing the tapping, we're increasing the speed at which we can come back to normal. I'll give you an example of a research study just when it comes to literally what happens in the body. So one research study took people in and put them into 3 groups, and they measured cortisol levels in the body. Cortisol is known as the stress hormone. It is released in the body. We talked about when we're in that fight or flight response, cortisol is one of those hormones that's released into the body. And so they put people into 3, and one group did nothing. Actually, they read magazines in a waiting room, and they ended up their stress, their cortisol levels actually went up by 2%. Because they sat there in reading magazines and were probably more stressed because of what they're reading. The second group did talk therapy, and their stress went down, their cortisol levels went down by about 20% in terms of the rate. But the group that did tapping was at more than double that rate of talk therapy. It was at 43%. So the tapping group significantly reduced the cortisol levels in the body, which means that they were able to reduce the stress, the anxiety, the overwhelm at a much faster rate than talk therapy, and especially than doing nothing. And so that's really what it's about. It's not like you're going to tap and then 4 seconds later it's all gone. It's as you go through the process, you see that it relaxes the body and allows it to go back into that relaxation response, so then the body can go back into balance, right?
Alex, do you find that people that practice tapping regularly develop a delayed response to stress, like just an overall, sense of well-being, or they don't go back so often in fear or stress, or it's how, do you see any
Yeah,
differences
yeah, no,
there?
absolutely. You know, we're actually working on doing we're putting together our first challenge. You know, we've done summits and all sorts of different things. We're doing a challenge right now, which we haven't even released in any way. I haven't even told anybody about it, but it's called the You Are Enough Challenge. And I'm bringing it up because of the question that you asked. And really, the reason is there was a woman who used our tapping solution app, and for 8 days in a row, she listened to one tapping meditation called the You Are Enough tapping meditation, right? And 8 days in a row, she did that exact same thing. And it was beautiful because she left this comment within our Facebook group about how her sense of self and worth had completely transformed over that 8 day period. And it was really the motivation and the idea that gave us to start this challenge for people to literally go through these 8 days as well to do this. But it was an example of how, yes, when you do the tapping and you do some consistency on, especially on particular issues, it's not just like a one-off thing like, oh, now I'm calm, but then I'm going to be stressed again, and now I'm calm, now I'm going to be stressed again. It rewires the brain. It rewires the way that we act and react to our external stimulus in our environment. Because this woman, 8 days later, she said she was in tears because she, for the first time in her life, felt like she was enough, like that she was okay at just as who she was. And she said she was looking at her world in a different way. And I know, for me, just hearing stories like that is the reason why me and you do this work, right? To help
Yeah.
people to come to that moment when you're brought to tears going, wow, I'm in charge of my life. I'm in charge of my choices. I can do things differently. They're beautiful moments. And tapping does allow you to rewire the brain so that you're not triggered in the same way as you would otherwise. Yeah.
It's
All right.
it's an awesome testimonial. And by the way, guys, please follow Alex's page and also go and look for the Tapping Solution
Yeah.
Instagram page. Follow them on Facebook and go to your Android or whatever Apple Store and get the Tapping Solution app. It's free it has a lot of. I think most of it is free actually.
It
I know
is.
they have some premium.
We have a ton of free stuff. It is. There's a free and a paid version, but I was looking the other day, and out of our 200 plus tapping meditations, there's like 50 that are free. And the reason why you have so many is because we created a whole section during COVID for people to deal with the stress and anxiety of COVID, around money, around their health, around all these things, around breathing. We also created a kids area. I've got 3 kids myself. Around COVID, about kids dealing with stress of being home, kids having to do homeschooling, all those different things that were coming up. And so there's tons of free stuff in the app to help you to literally go in there, start doing the tapping. And I'll show you how to do the tapping here, but you can also get the app and it'll show you tutorial videos on how to do it. But yeah, I definitely want to make sure we do some tapping together here to give people an
Oh
experience
yes.
of it.
Just one thing that I love
Yeah.
about the app is that it gives you notifications. And for me, it surprises me in very good moments of the day. It's like it knows, hey, feeling a bit stressed, try some tapping. Time to do some tapping. I love it.
Yeah.
I love it. It's an amazing app.
Thank you.
Congratulations, guys, for everything that you do. And thank you for making this available for free. Like Alex said, guys, most of the basic things that you need to, help with in general are there at your convenience. So please get the app. And share with a friend.
Yeah.
Go and take a screenshot of it, put it on your stories. That's how Alex's work, gets broadcasted to people that are
Yeah.
in need. And word of mouth recommendation is super, super important.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you saying that. Yeah, definitely come follow us on Instagram. Our Instagram is not as big as I know on Facebook. We have 1.1 or 1.2 million on one page and 40,000 on another. On Instagram, we're a little smaller just because we haven't worked to grow this. You've got an amazing following here at Law of Attraction Live, but come follow us. And again, our passion is in helping people, and the app has really been our best way to help people because it's so accessible. In any given moment, you open up your phone, you click on it, and you're tapping. And really, the app is actually a combination of tapping and meditation. So they're tapping meditations, which are just awesome and super powerful.
I love it. Let's tap.
Let's tap. Let's do it. Right. Let's do some tapping. And you know what? Normally I go into a lot more of the science and research, but if somebody wants to know the science and research, just go to our website. You'll see all about it. We literally just changed our website a couple weeks ago to put all sorts of research on our homepage. But I want to give people an experience. I think that's more powerful. But for those of you that like research, just go check out our website. You'll see all the different research. So so what do you want to tap on today? I think that's really the question. We can tap on general stress and anxiety. I think that's really what matters most for people right now. I think we should do that.
I think that's such a common theme in also in many different lives that we do. So I think that would work great.
Yeah,
I
awesome.
think
Okay.
everyone can relate to that.
Yes, absolutely. So, and I'll mention again, I know, I love when people come in, they go, what is this tapping thing? So tapping is also EFT tapping, so emotional freedom techniques tapping, right? So it is a technique. So it's a technique where we're gonna start to learn it, where we literally tap on different parts of our body, and they are specific points. There's one research study that tested having one group people do the right points and one people just do random points. The random points did not work. The right points made a significant difference, obviously, in making it work. So we do want to make sure that we use the right points. So here's how we start. We start by tapping on the karate chop point. And what I'll do is I'll actually show the points, and then we'll get into the tapping. So we start on the karate chop point. And what we do on the karate chop point is we focus on really what it is that we're feeling. So for all of you watching, for you, Tiberius, just, let's go ahead and take a deep breath in and breathe out. And just notice, what is it in your life right now that's causing you stress? Are you stressed about money, your business, your health, what's going on with COVID? Are you stressed about, racial anxiety or tension? Are you stressed about politics? Like, what is it for you that's stressing you out? And I think it's always easy for us to connect with what that big thing is in any given moment of what's stressing us out. And so just connect with that and notice that and feel that in your body. And also notice, where do you feel that stress or tension? Do you feel a tightness in your chest? One of the things I love to do to kind of measure how stressed you are is try taking a deep breath in. If you try to take a really deep breath in, can you go all the way in, or are you not able to go all the way in, right? Is your breathing shallow? So sometimes when we're stressed, it's very shallow breathing. We don't get to that deep belly breathing. So just notice where you feel that stress in your body. Is it in your stomach, in your chest, in your throat, in your back? Notice if you have any physical pain in your body. Tapping is really powerful for releasing physical pain. So important to notice, if you've had some knee issues, just feel your knee and just notice how much pain you're in right now. And we want to go ahead and measure that from 0 to 10 on a 0 to 10 level. So if you're really stressed and really anxious, you're at a level 10. Sometimes I think of a 10 as an anxiety attack, but it's up to you. It could be a 9 or an 8. And a 0 is like, you're not stressed at all. You could be laying on a beach on vacation and you're totally good, right? And so we want to measure on that 0 to 10 scale to know our starting point. Because what happens a lot of times with tapping is people feel great. They do the tapping, and then afterwards they're like, oh, that really wasn't an issue. But then you go, well, wait a sec. A minute ago, you said you were stressed at a level 9. And now you're at a level 2, like, notice what happened there, right? It's easy to have the shift happen and then go, oh no, it's something else now. I wasn't really upset or anything. So just notice what you're stressed about and notice it in your body, and then measure that on that 0 to 10 scale. And then we start doing is we tap on the karate chop point. And we do what's called the setup statement. The setup statement goes like this: even though, and then we fill in the blank with whatever's going on for us. And then the rest of the statement, the original statement was, even though, fill in the blank, I love and accept myself anyway. Now, that was the original statement that was developed by Gary Craig in the 1980s when he first invented tapping, or kind of came across this algorithm. Now, we don't always say I love and accept myself anyway, because for a lot of people, that's not an easy thing to say, right? Depending on your childhood and how you grew up, if you just didn't have the best childhood, you might not be at a point where you can say, I love and accept myself anyway. And so what we might do is we might change that and go, even though X is going on, I acknowledge and accept what I'm feeling right now. Because a lot of times it's just our inability to acknowledge or accept what we're feeling that keeps us stuck and unable to move forward, right? So again, we go on the karate chop point, and we can start doing it together. So here's what we'll do. I'll say a statement, and then you'll repeat it after me, and anybody listening will repeat it with you. Does that work?
Perfect.
Yeah, awesome. So even though I'm feeling all this stress and anxiety,
even though I'm feeling all this stress and anxiety,
I acknowledge and accept how I'm feeling right now.
I acknowledge and accept how I'm feeling right now.
Even though I have all this stress in my body,
even though I have all this stress in my body,
And somebody just wrote here, and I hate this job and I need a paycheck.
And I hate this job next to the paycheck.
I love and accept myself anyway.
I love and accept myself anyway.
Even though I have all this stress in my body.
Even though I have all this stress in my body.
And I'm worried about money and health.
And I'm worried about money or health.
I acknowledge and accept what I'm feeling right now.
I acknowledge and accept what I'm feeling right now.
We'll go to the eyebrow point next. You can do it with one hand. You can do it with two hands. Either side doesn't really matter. Whenever I'm doing it, I like to do one hand just so people can see me better. So we'll go all this stress and anxiety. And go ahead and repeat after me.
I didn't get all this.
Yep, all this stress.
All this stress and anxiety.
We'll go to the side of the eye. All this anxiety in my body.
All this anxiety in my body.
Under the eye, I'm so overwhelmed.
I'm so overwhelmed.
Under the nose, and I want everybody listening to just put a voice to it themselves. So I'm going to leave a blank in here in this statement, and everyone can kind of fill it in for themselves. So I'm just going to go, all this anxiety about.
All this anxiety about health.
And anybody can, you don't have to say it right now if you don't want to, but anybody watching this, just say it to yourself right now. We'll go to the chin point. All this stress and anxiety about.
All this stress and anxiety.
We'll go to the collarbone point. I'm so stressed about.
Stressed about.
And we'll go under the arm. Under the arm is about the, I said, I didn't mention some of the points there. So under the arm is about the bra line for women. It's about 6 inches under the armpit for men. So all the stress and anxiety in my body.
All the stress and anxiety in my body.
We'll go to the top of the head. Top of the head, there's lots of different points here. I'm so stressed and anxious.
I'm so stressed and anxious.
We'll go back to the eyebrow point. So that was one full round, and then we're going to keep going. I want to feel calmer in my body.
I want to feel calmer in my body.
Side of the eye, I want to find a way forward.
I want to find a way forward.
Under the eye, all this stress in my body.
All the stress in my body.
We'll go to the chin point, knowing that all is well.
Knowing that all is well.
Collarbone point, that I am safe.
That I am safe.
Under the arm, that I am loved.
That I am loved.
We'll go back to the top of the head. Breathing into my body right now.
Breathing into my body right now.
Eyebrow point, allowing this stress to release.
Allowing the stress to release.
Side of the eye, what could I do differently?
What could I do differently?
Here, let's see. Can you hear me?
Yeah, you're here.
It dropped my Wi-Fi went back to the cellular. All this stress in my body.
All the stress in my body.
Under the eye, I want to find a way to release it.
I want to find a way to release it.
Under the nose, what could I do differently?
What could I do differently?
Chin point, I choose to relax in my body right now.
I choose to relax in my body right now.
Collarbone point, knowing that all is well.
Knowing that all is well.
Under the arm, that I can take it one day at a time.
That I can take it one day at a time.
Top of the head, and just breathe into my body.
And just breathe into my body.
Let's go ahead and stop there and take a deep breath in. And breathe out. And I know it was a little bit broken up there with the connection. My connection literally jumped from one connection to the other. But just notice in your body again, just notice what stress you are feeling, what anxiety you're feeling. Try moving your body a little bit more. And just notice, what we want to do afterwards is just kind of connect again with what we were originally feeling. So if you said, you were stressed or anxious about a particular thing, measure that again on that 0 to 10 level. So if you were at a 9 or a 10 before, well, what are you at now? Are you at a 6 or a 5, or have you gone down to a 2? or maybe you're still at the same level, right? So it's not necessarily about going, how much of an improvement did you make? Now, most of the time, 90-95% of the time, you'll go down in intensity. Sometimes you won't, because it'll be something else came up during it, right? Like you were stressed about one thing, and then all of a sudden you realized that wasn't what you were stressed about, it was something else. And so the intensity came up for you and it went up. And so, but it's really just feedback to let us know, is this the thing that's stressing us out, and how do we shift that and calm our bodies down? So what did you feel just during that quick round of tapping?
I feel awesome. I feel more relaxed. And by the way, this has been a caretaker day for me because I've done a lot of, self care work, including massage, including I did a 30-minute meditation, for grounding and healing. But I just feel better, and I feel how, how my body is getting loose.
Lucy,
And
yeah.
I just realized that because I had an appointment at the orthodontist last week, and when my teeth hurt for a few days, I'm just realizing how much stress I was bringing into my body. So I also had a bit of a, that came up to my mind as well right now. But I'm feeling definitely better, noticeably better.
Yeah, you mentioned the tree. I got a great story of a woman who found tapping. She was having a lot of tooth issues, and she had, for over a year, had been going to the dentist, had different things to try to get rid of the pain, and had literally a tooth pain for over a year. And it wasn't until she did the tapping and addressed some of the emotional stuff that was going on. Sometimes it's just the trauma of like an initial surgery or something like that. When she addressed that trauma and released it, her tooth pain went away. And what was crazy was it actually showed up in the x-rays. So she actually had x-rays where, like, literally over a year period, where she was doing things and getting x-rays and seeing that issue is still there, that infection or whatever was going on. And after doing the tapping, she went back, did the x-ray, and it was gone. So again, this has to do with the power of the mind over the body and our ability to literally release different hormones and chemicals and things like that into our body to allow our bodies to heal. Right? I know, I crack up. I know there, some of the comments from people going, well, how does this work? And no, this can't be. And again, this isn't, it's not like you're magically just going to tap on these points and $1 million is going to come into your bank account or everything's going to be healed. What it does is that it allows your body to heal itself, right? It allows your body to do the things that it needs to do when it comes to that. And when it comes to money, no, you're not going to tap and then all of a sudden $1 million shows up in your bank account tomorrow. But when you're able to be more resourceful and use your brain properly, you're going to make different decisions. You're going to take different actions. And in terms of the law of attraction, when you're able to be focused on the things you want to attract, the dreams you're trying to create, the things you're trying to bring into your life, you're able to do that when you're not in that fight or flight state. Right? So it's not, again, it is what the tapping does is allows us to be the full expression of who we are, right? It takes off those limitations of the fears, the anxiety, the stressors, the past traumas, all those things. It allows those things to be released so that we can be ourselves.
Absolutely. And another thing that's worth mentioning, guys, is that this is a marathon. It's not a sprint when it comes to personal development. I think I'm losing you for a second, but I can still see and hear you, but it's just blurry. But you're still here. And you still hear us? Perfect. I was just saying, guys, don't go for in these types of technology and techniques. Don't imagine that you're gonna get this huge rush. You might, but don't make that an expectation, because this is a marathon, not a sprint. I had people that, I was sharing different experiences I had with breathwork, and holotropic breathwork and so on. And I had people saying, well, I didn't feel anything. And you said it was the most life-changing thing for you. Of course, but hey, everyone has their moments and everyone has things, do things in a certain way. And sometimes we don't even allow ourselves, even to experience ideas or feelings, or how many times do we really allow ourselves to feel pain? You know, we just put it under the rug and run away from it. So tapping works. Tapping is something that you should try on the long run. You know, make a journal, take notes. Like Alex said, you know, see how you were feeling before, see how you're feeling after, or better yet, get the app because it has that already embedded into it, and do it long term. It's a marathon, you know, and it's a lifelong journey. You're back, Alex.
I'm back. You know, I can't apologize enough for that, for the technical issues we have today with you know, the storms in my area and just not having good internet. But you know, I'm back now.
Oh, absolutely, no worries. We got the essence. We're just grateful for Instagram and for
Yeah,
the internet and for everything that we can do now.
yeah,
It's unimaginable. Thank you so much for everything that you shared. I think that tapping is one of those techniques that can make people, you know, just get more hope
yeah.
and just get confidence in themselves, you know, that they can change, and it's not something far-fetched or you know something they don't cannot afford or they don't have time for or whatever. Some people are even, you know, are even retentions from going to a therapist because they think that they're going to be labeled or they think they're going to be judged and so on. Typing is something that you can do in the comfort of your
Yeah.
home. You can do it in the bathroom. No one sees you. You know, try it for yourself. Give yourself the space to experience it because it can be life changing, and you will
Yeah, and
see.
the other thing I would add to that here, you know, is that, you know, for starters, there's so many therapists and psychologists that use tapping now. We've actually trained a lot of them through our foundation ourselves. But the thing is too, like, you know, I see some comments in here about people getting results and how it's amazing, and then you see people going, this, you know, how could this work? It's it's interesting to me that, like, whenever you are blocking yourself to even, you know, opening up and trying something, what other ways are you limiting yourself in life if you're not willing to go and research those things and look at it? Because, you know, some of the work we've done, I mean, we work with veterans with PTSD on an ongoing basis. We do tapping in schools, and we've got so many different research studies that are showing just how effective it is. A really great study that we did was actually on weight loss, where it actually showed women going through an 8-week period of using tapping. And in the beginning, they actually did brain scans on them. And when they were doing the brain scans, they were looking at food, and you could see where the brain was lighting up. And then after 8 weeks, where they did tapping, I think a couple times a week, and they could do it on their own, at the end, they went back, did the brain scans, and the brain was no longer lighting up when they were looking at those foods. And so it really is important that, regardless of what the technique is, to really make sure that you are doing your own due diligence in looking at the science and the research, trying things out for yourself, and always being open to learning and growing in a way that's going to expand you to become a bigger and better version of yourself. And if you're carrying any of that kind of, you know, negativity towards not wanting to try different things, whether it's tapping or qigong or breath work or whatever, or meditation, whatever it might be, you're just limiting yourself from really becoming and feeling the way you want to feel, to be able to utilize your brain and utilize your body the way that you want to.
Alex, thank you so much for everything that you shared. I saw we got a couple of comments here for people that probably joined in late. We were speaking about tapping as an emotional freedom technique, and we did a tapping exercise. By the way, guys, this the recording of this Instagram live will be posted on our newsfeed and on our Instagram TV feature permanently. So you have, you know, the chance to go and watch it. And please, you know, if you like it, post on your story, tag me with a friend. We want this to reach as many people as possible, and you never know who can be impacted by one of these
Yeah.
Instagram lives. And get the app as well. It's just something amazing, and it's accessible. I'm super grateful for everything that you do, Alex.
Thank
Really.
you, man. I appreciate it. It's been so fun to connect with you over the last couple of weeks and get to know you. I know we had another conversation, just me and you, a few weeks back, where we were, you know, just kind of geeking out on this whole journey for the two of us of how you go from being exposed to personal development and personal growth, and just the realization and understanding that you have choice in your life, that you're not the victim, but rather that you have choice. and to talk about your journey and my journey and the passion that I know we both have to help people to go on their own journey, right? To not be in that victim mode their whole life and to be able to create the life that they want was really powerful. And I'm so grateful to have connected with you and gotten to know you and to be friends with you today.
Thank you so much, Alex. Our community is always grateful and always supportive to everything that you do. We appreciate it. We'd love to have you on more Instagram lives. This is life-changing, and hope you reach more, many tens of millions, hundreds of millions, billions with this technology, because everyone needs to know about it. It's going to make the world a better place, and it is making the world a better place. Thank you so much.
Friend. I appreciate it. I appreciate it so much.
Many blessings, guys. Practice tapping, get the app, follow the tapping solution on social media, and let's get better, happier, healthier, wealthier with tapping and everything else that this unfolds. Thank you so much. Have an amazing day. Thank you, Alex.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.